What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And you know what? Feeling pretty good because I just got the COVID vaccine, and so far, no side effects other than sometimes I hear radio frequencies of languages I can't speak, but you know what? Like,
it's fine, you're really good.
I'm also super excited because I'm reviewing a movie that I have been so excited about. I've been anticipating it for so long, and I've been following the franchise for years back now, and it's one of the best type of franchises out there, which is, you know, as I said before, turn your brain off and just enjoy them. And that is Godzilla versus King Kong and the Monsterverse that led up to it. So I'm really excited to talk about it. The movie just got off of HBO Max, but you can still see it in theaters. And I'll make sure to put a spoiler alert at the end of the review so people can stop and they could, if they haven't seen it yet, go skip over that part and see what I rate it. If that's how you judge whether or not you're gonna watch it or not, I recommend it. But if you have seen it, this would be good just to see if you guys agree with me or disagree with me, and we could talk about it in the comments later. So I think to fully assess this movie, I need to talk about each of this movie's histories between the movies. And so I want to talk about each movie leading up to Godzilla vs. King Kong, talking in chronological timeline order in universe. So I want to go from Skull Island to Godzilla King of Monsters, and then leading up to Godzilla vs. King Kong. And I'm going to do a quick review. I'm going to do a quick sum up of each movie, much shorter than like the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, but it's easy to do that because honestly, these movies are so simple, and I cut all the humans out because really, who cares about them? This is not about them. This is about monsters hitting each other. What do you guys not understand? So, honestly, no more talking. I got my cool monster t-shirt on. That's Behemoth from King of Monsters, one of my favorite titans. And you know what? I'm ready. Let's go. Let's just jump right into it. So let's get into the Monsterverse review. Alright, so the Monsterverse starts off with Skull Island, dating back to the 1970s in universe. The story begins with the military showing up to the island to see if the earth beneath it has any hollow ground and if there's any monsters living inside of it, which they proceed with this operation by subtly dropping bombs on the land, just blowing up acres of wildlife. This, of course, wakes up Kong, who asks the military to kindly stop what they're doing with the gesture of launching trees into their helicopter and killing their men. Unfortunately, it's too late though, because the bombs woke up these things called skull crawlers who live in the earth, and now they're mad too. So now Kong has to deal with an angry Samuel L. Jackson because Kong killed some of his men, but also skull crawlers because they want to take down the Kong and rule the land. But thankfully, the other humans team up with Kong and help him defeat not only Samuel L. Jackson, but also the Alpha Skullcrawler, who he tears open like a piñata. Movie ends with the surviving humans flying home, Kong reclaiming his status as king on Skull Island, and Steve Brule eating a hot dog. So, greats of this movie, right off the bat, I would say great human to Kong ratio. I show up to see Big Monkey Man, I expect to see Big Monkey Man, and I got it. He is there for a very large portion of the movie, and you see him over and over again, and that's what I liked. I really much enjoyed seeing him. And second off, speaking of seeing him, I think the visual effects for him were fantastic, along with the skull crawlers. I thought they were so cool, creepy looking. I love their designs for that, so I think the visual effects were fantastic. And third off, I don't care for human characters. I've already established that before. However, I will say in the Monsterverse, I think in this movie, this is the most I ever cared for human characters. And there weren't really a lot of them I cared about, per se, but I definitely cared about John C. Reilly's character, and all I wanted him to do was get home. And that is actually maybe the only human character I ever watched and said, I want them to get home. And of course, the other soldiers who talked about, oh, I want to go home, I don't want to go on this mission, and then I did want to see them get home, but something about John C. Reilly's character, I was like, oh my god. Get this man a hot dog and a beer, am I right? So, those are my greats. Gripes, I would say, honestly, not too many. Skull Island is paired for first in my favorite Monsterverse films, going along with King Kong vs. Godzilla. I really loved both of these movies. Only gripes I would say is a lot of the other human characters other than John C. Reilly fell flat for me. Especially, and I don't think that many people may agree with me, but I do. The guy... So, Major Chapman, the guy who's always saying, Dear Billy, I'm gonna do this, dear Billy, dear Billy. I could tell that they were writing this to make you feel something, but in all honesty, I guess maybe because I didn't see Billy, which I'm sure that maybe that was the point, the fact that you don't really see their families, but you still feel for them. I didn't really. I mean, it sucked that he died, but me personally, I was like, so, sorry, Billy. But that was pretty much my only gripe, is the fact that I didn't really care too much of the human characters. But again, I go in to these movies not really planning on caring for them anyway, so it didn't diminish the movie for me in any way. So nonetheless, I would rate Kong 94%. Now, moving on to Godzilla 1. This movie is a real quick sum up because Godzilla's screen time is literally about 10 minutes. Pretty much what happens is two 15-year-old hibernating kaijus named Mudos, which stands for Massive Unidentified Terrestrial Organisms, have resurfaced and are planning to start a family, have some kids, and just settle down, you know? Don't we all? Well, too bad, because Godzilla doesn't like competition. He's the only big guy on campus, and he has to take them down, no questions asked. So Godzilla wakes up from his nap, which is a common theme in the universe, just monsters waking up from naps, pretty much. And he just starts beating the brakes off these two. In the end, he kills both of them, goes back into the ocean, and waits for the next time he has to come back and lay down the hurt. Now, this movie, I will have to say, is my least favorite in this Monsterverse. And, of course, I'll tell you why. So, great. I mean, again, as I said in the last movie, I would say that it has great visual effects. I think Godzilla looks really good, and definitely the Mudos. I think their designs are sleek, interesting, and great design choices all in all. But that's the only great... Oh, and you know what? Bryan Cranston acted very well in this movie. And so did Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch as a married couple. Good job, guys. But I gotta get into the gripes, which is not enough Godzilla. And I think a lot of people had an issue with that, and I just wasn't really feeling it. I felt like out of all of these movies in the Monsterverse, I go to for a turn your brain off movie, but it's hard to Taibo when all I'm staring about is people talking just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's not too interesting. It's not that thrilling. And maybe if they kept Bryan Cranston around a little longer, maybe it'd be a little bit more interesting. But overall, I didn't care about any of the characters. And it's hard for me to care about Godzilla when I barely see him. So overall, I would rate this movie a 77. And he's back. Jump forward 5 years later, and he has to come back and settle some beef because these annoying scientists keep waking up these monsters, and he has to put all these monsters back in their place. So we got Mothra, Rodan, and the big baddie of the movie, who's called King Ghidorah. King? There's only one king around here, and that's King Kong! What? No, it's me, Godzilla. Get out of my movie. I'll deal with you later. So, anyway, there's a whole brawl going on, and Godzilla's actually getting kind of beat up by Ghidorah, and things aren't looking that great. But thanks to an energy boost from Mothra, he uses it to obliterate Ghidorah. And with that, he takes his rightful place as the king of monsters. The end. Now, Godzilla, King of Monsters, on the other hand, this movie did a complete comeback when it comes to the last movie. I can understand them if they're saying that they wanted to build suspense on seeing Godzilla in the last movie so that when he's in this movie, it's so much more exciting. I get that, but I don't need that much convincing to be excited about Godzilla. I wanted to see him. I didn't get him in the last movie. This movie, on the other hand, I'm going to say in the greats, you see him a good amount. You see him a very good amount, and he's pretty awesome. He's awesome. He's going crazy. And especially when you add Mothra, Rodan, King Ghidorah, I think that it's just so awesome to see them all together and just doing what monsters do, is destroying cities. Thank you. And so, huge great for that one. And I mean, again, I'm going to say this for all the movies. I'm not even going to say it for the next movie because I'm going to say all the Monsterverse movies have great visual effects, so I don't even have to keep on saying it. But yeah, those are my greats, is the fact that I think that I get a great amount of monster fights, and the characters, they're not too overwhelming, but this is going to lead into the gripes. Man, are they annoying in this movie. They're so annoying. I really, really didn't care about them in this movie. I remember when I saw this movie in theaters, my eyes are just wide open watching the monster fights, and then all of a sudden there's a gloss when the humans come on, and I'm just staring, I'm not even paying attention. I don't know what's really going on. I don't care. And yeah, I think like that's definitely a major gripe, because I think this movie led from me being able to ignore them to actually me watching them like, they're kind of annoying. I kind of found they were annoying in this movie, but it didn't kill the movie off too hard for me. Huge step up from Godzilla. I would rate this movie a 90%. All right, so we're back with Godzilla versus King Kong. So now there's another issue. The government hasn't left Kong alone since the 70s, and he's being used as a tracking device to find the new worlds within the Earth called Hollow Earth. The problem is they have to rip my man's out from his home, from Skull Island, and bring him to the suspected Hollow Earth entrance. But of course, that's not going to be easy, because what have we said before? Godzilla could be the only big man on campus, and I'm detecting some biggins walking around my parts. So this causes Godzilla to not only attack the ship that Kong is on, which of course he wins because Kong was sleeping and he was on the water. We'll get back to that. But the night before, Godzilla was attacking cities, which is out of character, and people are starting to think that he may not be the savior anymore, and no one knows what has gotten into him. Anyway, they bring Kong to Hollow Earth because he finally finds it, something he could call home. But he has to leave again because Godzilla is back to destroying cities, and Godzilla drills a hole straight to Hollow Earth just to call Kong out. And Kong is just like, what is this dude's problem? So he leaves Hollow Earth for another round in the city. This ends up with a giant fight between the two, and spoiler alert, second round goes to Kong, but ultimately the fight ends on the third round, which Godzilla was the ultimate winner. But why was Godzilla fighting in the first place? That's because this secret agency called Apex has secretly been creating a giant kaiju of their own using robotics attached to the skull of Ghidorah, aka Mechagodzilla. And now, somehow, Ghidorah has taken over the robot, and it's gone rogue. And now that it's alive, you know what that means. That's a certified big boy. And Godzilla ain't having it. So Kong wakes up from his beating and teams up with Godzilla to fight Mechagodzilla. And using the power of friendship, they destroy it. The movie then ends with Godzilla and King Kong exchanging phone numbers. Godzilla heads back to the sea, and King Kong accepts his throne on Hollow Earth. The end. For now, of course. Whew. Now, the big finisher. And hopefully, I say big finisher, but I will be down for more Monsterverse movies. I'm sure they're thinking of them. I don't think that you could just end off on that one. But let's talk about the grades. The fights were awesome. Right off the bat, number one, I think the fights were so well done, and I think that it was very smart on how they did it with, and again, I'm going to put a fat spoiler right here because now I'm going to start talking about what I like, so that's going to be kind of spoilery, and what I would suggest is cut towards the end, find my rating, and then if that's what's going to convince you to watch the movie, then do that. But for all the people that's seen it, let's keep talking together. So, I really loved how they set it up when it goes round 1, round 2, round 3. And they really kept it concise where they say, okay, Godzilla won the first round, Kong won the second round, and again, spoiler alert, Godzilla won the final round. And I'm sighing because I was Team Kong. And I still am Team Kong. I stand by it. And you know what? Godzilla, pull back up again, because you know what? That was cheap on the first round. That my man was sleeping for about like 12 hours. He was on drugs. He was drugged. He was zonked out of his mind, and he went in water? My man can't even swim. Garbage. And you know what? I think you're a punk for that. Also, you're stupid. How did you not expect all those people who are still on the boat to get stopped? You're an idiot. Fight him again, on land. Sure, I know you beat him on the third round. Do it again. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, nonetheless, I really love the structure of the movie. And again, I know, and the human characters were not too overwhelming. I was able to tune them out. They weren't as bad in this movie, I would say. And, I understand that you need to have human characters because they speak a human language that helps carry the story along. But I would be interested in seeing if they try not doing it. I would be down to watch a movie where no one says anything. It's just all Kongs and just all Godzillas and then just no one talks. That'd be interesting. But anyway, and lastly, a huge great is I loved, while I was not happy with who lost, I loved that there was a loser. And I'm saying this because I'm happy to see that it's a very obvious winner, other than, of course, I think a lot of people were afraid of Batman versus Superman, where you have a huge Martha situation that stops the battle. Oh, we can't have someone being a loser because we're afraid to upset fans. Oh, we don't want to see this hero go down because it's going to be bad for a visual image. No. Don't be a coward, show a loser. And I'm very happy with what they did in this movie. I was sad that Kong lost, but I'm happy that they didn't punk out and go, oh, here comes Mechagodzilla to stop the fight, and they have to team up. Which, of course, yes, that does happen in the end where they have to both fight Mechagodzilla, but there's still a clear loser beforehand. So pairing that off with the loser and then Kong getting back up and then doing a team up, I thought was still awesome. Which, again, also Mechagodzilla looked awesome. I'm just gonna keep saying awesome because that's what the embodiment of these movies are. Oh, awesome. Just big things, punching things. I'm an idiot and I love it. So that's my grades. Gripes, on the other hand, not too many, but I have to say, so going back to the human characters, and I say this all the time for gripes. However, I just want to talk about this one because this is a certain case. I thought this movie had a lot of quips, which I know a lot of people also had an issue with in the Marvel movies, where for some reason moments can't be too serious because the character has to say a little joke in there. This movie had a lot of them, a lot of humor in it, and I thought some parts were funny, but I remember thinking sometimes like, okay, it's a bit much for me personally. I think that sometimes they could tone it down where they can allow a moment to be serious without having to throw in a, oof. Gotta change my trousers. Like, it's okay. We can just let us enjoy the moment without really having to throw a joke in there. So that would be like one of my big gripes. And that's pretty much it where it comes to gripes. I thought this movie was fantastic, honestly. And you know what? That gripe does not bring it down anymore. So I would also give this movie, paired up with Skull Island, a 94. So guys, that's gonna do it for this review. If you guys agree with me, chime off in the comments, and if you disagree with me, do the same, because I would love to have a conversation about this, because I'm very passionate about my monsters, and I will talk about them for days. So, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all in my next video.